So coming up in November, I'm going to be the keynote speaker at the Mobile DJ Meetup, and I thought now might be a really good time to start working out some material for that, and why not do a video? Something I thought might be interesting to talk about would be the logistics of dinner, which to me is the hardest part of what I do. When I'm DJing the wedding reception itself and just playing music, I'm kind of relying on me. As long as I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do, things should go pretty well. Now, ceremony, there's a little more involved. I have to coordinate with sometimes musicians. I'm a sound guy, I'm a mic tech, I've got to worry about the wedding party. It's not easy, but it pales in comparison to what's happening during dinner because I'm the puppet master for that one. A lot of us are, and we don't even realize it. The decisions we make when we put this together can really make or break it. And I'll give you some examples. When I meet with the client, one of the first things I ask him is, what time is dinner? And then I ask him if it's a sit-down or a buffet. If it is a sit-down, I want to know how many courses are going on. So let's say, for instance, dinner starts at 7 o'clock. What I don't want to do is bring people in at 6:30. Because if I do that, we're going to be sitting around for 20-25 minutes with nothing to do. I also don't want to bring people in right at 7 because that will back up the dinner service. It needs to happen at 7 o'clock because it's hot at 7 o'clock. If it happens too early, we've got downtime. If it happens too late, the food's cold. So we need everybody seated at 7 so the food is ready to go. It's a big deal with catering. They have a lot of timing issues that they have to deal with, and we need to assist them with it, I think. So when I bring in the wedding party, let's say at 10 to or 5 to or whatever the case might be, I don't even bother talking about the microphone at this point. By the time they do their speeches, they have usually forgotten what you said anyway, so don't even bother. Just line them up and get them in the room. Now, once I get the bride and groom in the room, I'd like them to cut the cake right away if catering needs to cut the cake up and get ready to serve for dessert. If I do it early, they'll have plenty of time to do it. Now, the only thing I really need to happen before dinner is have the people come into the room, the cake cut, a prayer if they want it, and that's it. Everybody's seated at 7 o'clock. And I need to time this tight so there's no downtime. I like to save the speeches until the entree is served or everyone is through the buffet line. And here's why. Even if I let one speech go before dinner, they could tell me it's a 3-minute speech, but it could be a 13-minute speech. And that bumps dinner back 10 minutes. If I've got 2 people speaking and each of them go over 10 minutes, the dinner's bumped back 20 minutes. It's better, I think, to hold all toasts and speeches until either everyone's through the buffet line or the entree is served. And that way, people can go as long as they want. And people have food in front of them, and it's not cold. Now, if this is a sit-down and they're serving the entree, wait for that entree to get out before you start speeches. Because if you don't, one of 2 things could happen. Either catering will stop serving because they don't want to interrupt the speech, or catering will continue to serve and you'll have a lot of interruptions in the audience with plates clicking and the waitstaff asking people questions and people saying, my beef's cold, or whatever the case might be. Get everything out and on the table before you start these speeches. Then people can go as long as they want, and who cares? You also have to pay attention to the photographer. Make sure they're in place for these things and make sure they know what's going on. Those are the kind of things that I do that usually make my job a lot easier. And the other thing that I've done, and I've mentioned in my last video, is this whole microphone thing where sometimes it starts here and it comes down here. People don't know how to hold the mic. They can't hear. They blame the DJ. Now, I've heard that people fear public speaking more than they fear death. So when some people are on that microphone, they might be freaking out a little bit. If I can get on the microphone and say, hello everybody, welcome to Dave's Steakhouse. I'm Brian, your DJ. By the way, can everybody hear me okay? Alright. Well, notice I'm holding the microphone right to my mouth. If I held it down here, you wouldn't be able to hear me very well at all. So if you're giving a toast or a speech tonight, please hold the microphone to your mouth. And without further ado, let's go ahead and bring the best man up to give a speech or whatever you say. So the best man has the microphone, he's giving his toast, and the mic starts dropping down towards his belly button. Now nobody can hear him. Unless the audience helps me out and says, hey, Bob, put that mic up closer to your mouth. And, oh, okay. He does it. The audience can kind of police this for me. It's better than me saying something. And I gotta weigh it out. What's worse? An interrupted speech that we can hear, or an uninterrupted speech that no one can hear? Now, executing all of this may sound complicated, but it's not that bad if you've got it all laid out in a timeline beforehand. And one step that I don't want you to skip is to make sure that the bride and groom are in on it with you, and that they understand why you're doing the things the way you're doing them. You don't want questions while they're clearing salad as to why we're not doing speeches yet. Well, they should know we're not doing it yet because we're waiting for the entree to be served. And we're not doing it while the entree is being served because we don't want the disturbance from the waitstaff, or we don't want the waitstaff to stop serving food and the food's cold. They should know all this before the event happens. Things will just run smoother that way, I think. Anyway, just some ideas for a keynote. Let me know what you think in the comment section. We'll see you next time. Practice and enjoy.